can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat Sleep Boxing Repeat.
Hello and welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted to be joined by Danny. We're here providing some betting tips for one of the huge fights happening this weekend. We are, of course, talking about Canelo against Crawford. It's a super fight of the century, some are calling it. Whatever you think of it, it's an absolute humdinger of a fight. Cannot wait for it. Terence Crawford stepping up a further two weight classes from light middleweight to challenge Canelo for all the marbles at 168. Cannot wait, Danny. As I've said, we're going to maybe outline a few odds here, give a few of our betting tips, what kind of appeals to us, and hopefully provide some of our viewers here with a couple of winning bet slips because that's what we all want to. That's what we all want to hear. So yeah, Danny, I'll hand it over to you, mate. Hand the floor over to you first and foremost. Kind of give us your prediction and kind of how you feel the fight playing out, and and a betting tip that appeals to you.
Yeah, it's a tricky one as it so often is with these really big fights. It can be hard to find some value. I think bookies know that there'll be lots more people betting on these than you would get your standard Saturday night affair, and as such, they'll sort of narrow the odds and take away the value. So, on the face of it, you look at the odds. Terence Crawford, what I was saying about a 6-4 underdog, bats came in quite a bit from, I think he was 2-1, 5-2 when the fight was first proposed and first made, which would have been a really good price. You can get 21-10 on Crawford to win on points, which, if you think Crawford is going to win the fight like me, represents a very good price. I think you'd be a brave man, even the most ardent of Terence Crawford fan, to predict Terence Crawford to stop Canelo Alvarez. We've never really seen Canelo hurt or in any sort of trouble. We saw in his early stages of his career buzzed a couple of times, even Dmitry Bivol, a light heavyweight. Sergey Kovalev, a very hard punching light heavyweight, couldn't really put that much of a dent in Canelo. So it's difficult to see Crawford doing that at coming up from light middleweight, really welterweight. Started his career as a lightweight. I do think Crawford will win the fight. Whether he gets it's another talking point, but I think Terence Crawford on points at 21-10 is not a bad price.
Yeah, mate. I think you made a few really good points there. I think if you are a Crawford backer here, I think that is the most likely outcome. Um, and at 21-10, better than 2-1 odds there, I think you're looking at that and thinking that's probably the best value on the surface for Terence Crawford if you believe he wins. I think closer the fight's got, heard a lot more people backing Terence Crawford. I've been on Bud's side the whole time as well. Massive fan. He's one of the few fighters who I get properly excited to watch. Even still. So yeah, I'm going with you. I'm on the Crawford victory. However, I'm gonna go big, mate. You know, it's a big fight, so I'm gonna go big. I'm Crawford's gonna make Canelo quit in his stool. He's gonna get the stoppage. Um, Terence Crawford's gonna win the fight via stoppage in the later rounds. I think he's gonna. When I say he's gonna quit on the stool, Canelo, I maybe don't quite mean that. But something tells me that Terence Crawford. I saw the post he put up on social media, looking absolutely stacked up at 168. Going to be powerful. I hope he's still got his movement and his slight speed advantage there over Canelo as well. And I think Canelo's definitely on the back nine, as we've all alluded to before. Hasn't really looked that good of late, albeit he's a seasoned super middleweight now. He has fought, of course, up at light heavy and all that as well. But I just think so. Something telling me Terence Crawford's going to win the fight late on, mate. But I don't think it's going to be. It's not going to be like a one shot knockout. I think it could be an accumulation, getting a little tough for Canelo, and I'm not going to say no mass, but Crawford getting the job done. In what would be, in my opinion, even at a past his best Canelo, I think this would be one of the if Crawford was to stop Canelo, I think it'd be one of the greatest victories ever. Not even joking. So yeah, I'm gonna go big, mate. I know it's probably unlikely, and I think the wise money's definitely with your tip, but I'm going Crawford to stop Canelo late. What do you think of that?
Love it, mate. I saw the photos you're talking about of Crawford with that extra muscle. One thing I would say, as I've found out through my experiences on dating apps, photos can often be very deceiving.
Very good point, mate. Very good point. If Look, we've both gone with Crawford to win the fight, both at decent odds. And the Crawford knockout, by the way, is what I was saying, was Crawford stoppage. I was seeing odds of 9-1. If I was to pick rounds, it would be second half of the fight. You can get it like 14-1 or something.
Big. It is
So
big.
big odds. And if you're looking for a gamble and a big outside bet, maybe why not throw it on? But yeah, going Canelo is the favorite, despite us both picking Crawford to get the job done. Um, Not an overwhelming favorite, but definitely a fairly, and you can see why he is the favorite. If Canelo was to win the fight, so say we're wrong, Danny, and it's Canelo wins the fight. What do you see being the most likely outcome there? And then I'll kind of outline some odds on what that method of victory would be.
There's a couple of routes to victory you can see for Canelo if Crawford just can't handle the power at super middleweight, which is very possible. He was buzzed by Kavaliauskas at 140, Gamboa even before that at lightweight. So if that weight and size and power proves too much, there's every chance Canelo could put him away with one punch. Really, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. If he feels the power and goes into a bit of a shell, Canelo could win on points. But a bigger priced bet that I like, which you can never rule out in these big fights when the allure of a rematch would be so big financially, is the draw at 12-1. I think, particularly if Terence Crawford, in the eyes of most observers, wins a close fight, a 7-5, 8-4 type of score, then I don't think you can discount the draw. We saw Canelo get a fortunate draw before against Gennady Golovkin, set up a big rematch, and I think a rematch would still probably be the biggest fight for both, and it would be even bigger if the first one ended in a draw. I think you can get 12-1, which is a wee bit short in terms of prices for a draw in 12-round fights, but still a good return on your investment if it is to come in.
Yeah, definitely. And you make a good point about the whole, likely if it is, if put it this way, likely if it is to be a draw, most people, I would assume now, Crawford has probably won the fight if it is going to actually be ruled a draw, if that makes sense. I'm seeing odds of 14-1 on some
Oh,
betting apps
nice.
for the draw, so a bit more value there. And just the ones you mentioned, like if it is a decision victory for Canelo, I'm seeing odds of 6-5. If you think Crawford won't be able to handle the power up at 168, then I think I'm seeing odds of 15-4, so almost 4-1 for Canelo stoppage. Hasn't obviously had a stoppage in a while, but clearly still a big puncher and an all-time great, and has gotten a lot of fighters out of there in the past. So yeah, whether that's one that you're looking at as well, definitely money to be made whatever way you're going. I think, but yeah, with these big fights, hopefully they just live up to the expectation. And so some of those odds that Danny and I have mentioned come in. So yeah, Danny's gone for Crawford on points at 21-10. I've gone for a Crawford stoppage late on, 14-1 for the second half of the fight. So yeah, hopefully, Danny, we're gloating in the comments on Sunday morning, having provided some at least one winning betting slip. So yeah, enjoyed that video, guys. Let us know in the comments your thoughts. If you have any bets or any tips you feel like could come in for this fight. And as always, yeah, if you're not doing so already, hit that subscribe button on the channel at ESBR Boxing. Danny, pleasure as always, mate. Thanks for joining me. They were our betting tips for Canelo Crawford, and I will speak to you again very soon.
Cheers, Paul. Thanks, folks.